This is Melisa Nielsen with Waldorf Essentials. This morning I thought we would talk about the sort of the art lessons and how those really work at home. I've had a few questions about those this week. People that are new to our curriculum, people that are newer to Waldorf at home, and sort of trying to look at it from the school perspective. And so I really wanted to talk about how that's different and how you really need to be able to be flexible about that. So, Waldorf at home is loosely based on the school. But when I started Waldorf at home, I didn't have a school to compare it to. I had been to the Sacramento School for a conference every year, and I had Steiner's lectures and Steiner's work to go from. So when I wrote our curriculum, I wrote them based off of his work, not based off what they do in the school. So people will see that as a little bit different in our curriculum than other curriculum. And so other curriculum is often based on sort of what's going on in the school, because a lot of other curriculum writers are former school teachers. So they've taught in the classroom and then they've adapted what they've taught in the classroom to the home. I have never done that. I've adapted Steiner's work to the home. So there's never been a middleman of what the classroom is. I know what goes on in the classroom. I have many Waldorf school teacher friends, and I've done some observing, and I've also taught in a cottage school situation in a classroom. So I know how to model the classroom, and the home is not like that. The home is modeled on the home. And when we choose to homeschool, we choose to do things a little bit differently. So just wanted to get that sort of out there first, just so that you can remind yourself when you're trying to compare yourself to the classroom, or wondering why we might look a little bit different than other providers, because we don't do extra lessons during the day. We do one lesson and we tie it all together. So we'll talk about that really briefly. The reason why we do that is because I know that homeschoolers are busy people, really busy people. And often they've got things going on in the afternoon. Kids have got lessons as they get older. Kids are wanting to do all kinds of other things. Plus, we really also, I think, dyed in the wool homeschoolers really enjoy their free time. And that's free time that's not lesson time. So what I have done is I've made sure that all of those things happen at the same time. So my rhythm might look like we get up, we gather, and we have our morning devotionals and our breakfast all at once. Our gathering consists of our gathering consists of sort of coming together as a family and saying a morning prayer and maybe singing a song. And then once our breakfast is done, we clean up quickly and we head to go for a walk. Now, I'm going to say something really quick about the clean up quickly. I can clean up quickly because my kitchen is clean the night before. So this goes into sort of making sure that your kitchen is ready and your house is ready, and it's all part of your planning. I would rather stay up for an extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even 30 minutes to get my kitchen in order, so that it's in order the next day. Because if it's not in order the next day, it's harder to cook breakfast. There's going to be dishes in the sink, and it's going to send the whole next day into not a great place. So after we do breakfast and do quick dishes, we go on our walk. That's usually about 9 o'clock. And we're back by 9:30. Now, the walk in the morning is not a leisurely walk. It is a walk to get the wiggles out. I sort of think that the kids have the static electricity that's built up overnight, and they really just need to work it all out. So that's what this walk is about. This is not a walk for scooters. It's not a walk for bikes. It's not a walk for the playground. This is a walk. And so I will purposefully map a route. And this is mostly, I'm going to amend that. This is mostly for the younger kids, for at least 10 and under, and maybe 12 and under, especially those who have really energetic children. As they start to get older, you can take a more leisurely walk, and it doesn't have to be quite like this. But as they're younger and they still have all this energy in the morning, this is when this mostly applies. So I will map out a route in advance. Every school year I try to make it a little bit different. It's not been hard last few school years because we keep moving at the beginning of the school year. But anyway, so I would map out a route that does not go by a park, does not go by a school, and really just is then a route that we can take for our walk. And it's quick. We come back, and I like to work with the concept of pliable exhaustion. So they are exhausted enough that they're not going to fight you, but still pliable enough to do lessons. And that sort of gets them in this place of being able to work. So then we would start with handwork and music lessons first. And that would be everybody. So in my case, I've got 3 at home this year. My eldest is 15, so everybody's sitting together doing handwork. I usually do it for the length of time of a sparkle story, which is about 16 minutes, 16 to 20 minutes. And then we have some music time, and we trade off. So we might have a flute lesson and a piano lesson going in the same time period. And then after that, after we've sort of gotten through all of that, then we break for main lesson. And my older 2 are off doing some reading that coordinates the main lesson. I'm working with my youngest. So I just want to give you a sort of a sense of how this is working in a home setting. So once I've done with my youngest, she is 5 and she can do free art. So, people say, don't you have, like, gosh, in the school they do a painting day and they do a modeling day. You can totally do that. You can. My experience, when you have several children, I don't make them only paint on one day. So when it comes to my youngest especially, she has a set of paint palettes, and we've talked about that in previous videos. She has a set of paint palettes. She knows where the water cup is. She knows where a paintbrush is. She can handle that all on her own. And that's really where she should be in the kindergarten years. She can do all the drawing on her own. She can do the painting on her own. We save modeling for when we're all together because she needs help getting it pliable enough. But she has Play-Doh that we've made. So she's got opportunities for her own art in that respect. Then we do the main lesson with the next child. Usually my middle, the one that I have at home right now that's middle, he's 10 years old. He's going to be going into 4th grade. And I've done this with all of my children, the same rotation with everybody. So we would do his main lesson. The story portion for his main lesson might take 20 minutes, and then we'll work on the art portion. So the art portion is instruction from me to him. It is not free art. It is not he gets to paint what he wants. It's a lesson that I have planned in advance as part of the main lesson. So I sit down to do all of the paintings and drawings generally for the whole month, and I have it all planned out. That way, I just pull them that morning. I've already done them. I've painted them once before. I've drawn them once before. Oh yeah, this is the story on this. And I pull it out, and then that's my prop for my story. And it's also what we're painting, drawing, or in some cases modeling together. Now, if you're using a chalkboard, make your chalkboard drawing. That's your prop. But your painting and your drawing, it's best and easiest if it's somewhere loosely based on that. You're still doing that painting and drawing in advance if you're using a chalkboard. You're still getting all of those things done in advance, so you have it completely planned out. So you don't have haphazard art days. And there's no craziness when it comes to sitting down and actually doing that painting or that drawing or even that modeling. You want to know how that water's going to work for you. You want to know how those crayons are going to layer. You want to know exactly, hey, can I actually model this? Because if I can't, I probably better practice. So you want to be able to have all of that together so that you are the authority when they come to you. You are the authority when you sit down to do that art lesson together. So that's generally on day 1 of your lessons. And then generally it goes to sleep for a day. And the next day you would work on a recall and summary work together. So then on the next first day of the story, you're doing that again. So generally we have 8 art days in a month. And like I said, I like to plan them out so that I got them all done at once. That's only 8 paintings or 8 drawings or 8 modelings. It's really not a big deal. And if you're working with staying ahead of your planning, then you can really look at that. Say the second week of the month, like this next week, I could be looking at that for October and going, what are the paintings and drawings I need to have for October? That means I got to have October pretty planned out. And I got to pretty much have an idea of what we're doing. The longer you do this, the more you'll have ideas on what works and what doesn't work, and you'll know how far in advance you need to do your planning. If you know that you always have that last weekend before the next month that you can do planning, then save it for that. Save it for that day. And like I said, I get them all whipped out at one time. So then I've got them. and then they end up getting used for, I take pictures of some of them, but then they end up getting used for wrapping paper, gifts and cards for people. Um, I take pictures of the paintings, but I don't generally keep everything because I have 5 children. There's no way. We scan a lot of stuff. Um, I also don't keep main lesson books, and I know that's sort of like Waldorf heresy. But when we moved from Utah to California, I didn't know what our storage situation would be like. And dang, I'm sure glad that I went through and scanned them all then. I have them all. I have all the scans. And then we were able to let go of them. The kids were able to keep the books that they really, really wanted, and the ones that they felt really attached to, the lessons they were really attached to. And the rest of them, it was okay to move on. And I actually think that's a very good lesson in being able to move things on, not needing to keep everything. It is totally okay. Somebody asked about what about beeswax modeling? I don't have enough to make 3 versions. Use the wrong colors. Yeah, for your own practice, use the wrong colors because if that's what you need to do, and maybe work to get some more. Just because it doesn't take that much. We recycle our beeswax too, so we make sure that we've got enough for the lesson, and then we recycle it. And really, the point in doing it ahead of time is it saves you a lot in planning. Continues to make you the authority and the ego when it comes to your children, and it allows them to have confidence in that they're taking direction from you, and you know what you're doing. And that's really where you want to be, especially as before 9, and then as you're getting to that 9-year change, and after 9. Oh man, after that, they're totally going to be holding you to a different standard. So you want to make sure that you know what you're doing. And the only way you can really know what you're doing is by making sure you practice. And so that really sort of puts that back on you as far as making sure that you get that practice in. Now, I know we have moms that are just coming to Waldorf late and they're like, what? I don't know how to do any of this. It's okay. Don't try to bring it to them, though, before you know. Take the time to learn it yourself and then bring it to them. Do not try to bring it to them without you. Do not try to go, hey, we're just going to paint today. Or, hey, we're just, because I should back up. It's okay to explore those mediums together, but you always want to stay one step ahead of them. Always. The same goes for knitting. The same goes for crochet, any kind of handwork. Everything, you always want to stay one step ahead of them. You want to really be able to bring that to them in a way that they have confidence in your abilities. And, that doesn't mean that they're not going to get better than you. My kids, all of them were better than me by, probably by 6th and 7th grade. And I've practiced for a long time, but all of them had their own sort of direction that they went in. And especially my daughter that's 15, wow. My father-in-law's been watercoloring for a lot of years, and he saw some of her watercolor the other day. He goes, what? How long have you been doing this? She started laughing. She said, well, Grandpa, I have been watercoloring since I was in 1st grade. So, I think that it's important that you sort of understand that there's going to become a time, and it's usually been about 12, 14 when my kids have been like, oh, they're gone on their own. My oldest, when he was 14, he wanted to take a drawing manga class, and he flew, and he went, like, his drawing is amazing. Doesn't mean I couldn't achieve that. It's just that where my focus is not that space. So, definitely don't downplay your talents, but make sure that you practice and work on the ones that you need for the lessons. So that's really what I wanted to say about art and at home. I think that it's really easy to make it more complicated and go, oh, I have to have a separate art lesson. You don't. You can, sure. You can. And when my big kids were little, we would once a week also paint together. I would pick a poem and I would do an extra painting, and once a week we would do this extra painting as a lesson, and then they would write the poem afterwards just as an extra bit. I don't have time for that right now. I don't have time to take that space. Our business is really busy. Our family's really busy. So we stick with what I know works for the lessons, and that is to bring every art lesson as part of the main lesson. And then, it flows easily, and we don't feel like we have to do extra lessons all day. So we are generally done by 2, and done before that for Samuel. So Samuel's always done by noon, and he and Soraya are usually done together around there. So if they want to linger with their art pieces, and if they want to paint more after we've done a painting or after we've done a drawing, they are always welcome to do that. But we always do the main lesson painting art portion together. We always, now I might say, For instance, during fables, I remember one time I said to him, "Do you want to model the turtle, or would you like to model the hare?" And so I had modelings of both. And he wanted to do the turtle, and I did the hare. And so, I gave him some choice with regards to that modeling project. But in general, so I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you later. Bye now.